Hello everyone, here we are in Oschersleben. It's the whole new DTM season 2023. Race 2 is just about to start and we are excited. Yesterday, for the first time in the history, a Lamborghini won here in race 1. And now we've got a Porsche in the front. So it's going to be very exciting. And the man who actually managed to get pole position is Thomas Preining. And yes, last year you won twice already, but this time it's a premiere that you got pole position. So I guess, how are you going to do it to make a victory out of it?
I think the start needs to be good. This is clear to stay ahead, and then let's see if we have the pace. I think the quali looked promising, of course. So I think we have good cards, and we just need to manage the situation in the best possible way.
Best of luck, Thomas. Thank you so much. And we're going to go over here to P2 because there we've got Tim Heinemann and he's already at the car. So let's find out how he's feeling. Obviously, it's a good starting position from P2 and let's see how his spirits are. But knowing Tim Heinemann, he's always in good spirits. Hey, Tim, starting from P2 today. Yesterday already was a fantastic day. So how are you going to repeat that?
To finish P1, it would be an amazing weekend. But yeah. Starting yesterday with P2 was already amazing and a big dream come true. Now to be in the front again is a bit of surreal, but yeah, it motivates us to do even better than yesterday. And yesterday we were the first losers on P2, so yeah, goal for today is clear.
And just a quick question, being part of the DTM family, how does it feel?
Amazing. It was a big dream of mine since I was a kid. I was at the grandstand myself. And yeah, to stand here today now as a DTM driver and in the front of the grid is just an honor and yeah, really great feeling.
Fantastic. Best of luck for the race, Tim. Thank you. And now here are your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Welcome everybody then to race day 2, round 2 of the 2023 DTM Championship coming up. Drivers all ready to go, lots of them keeping cool on the grid as well, finding a little bit of shade out at the side of the circuit because it's going to be a hot one. It's a bit warmer than yesterday, 22 degrees. Make that about 50 degrees in the cockpit of the cars, and the track temperature is high as well. It's been rising over the last hour or so. It's 34 degrees now. And continuing the trend that we had in 2022, you've got 2 different qualifying sessions, 2 different pole sitters and 2 different brands as well that got pole position. Yesterday, it was from Pereira who won the race for Stefan Schlund's team, SSR Performance. But today he's back in 18th spot, and it was the turn of Thomas Preining in Olof Mante's team in the Porsche with his first pole position ever in DTM, ever. It's only his 2nd season of racing, so I spoke to Tommy earlier, he was very, very pleased with that. I said, how was your winter? He said, well, we're racing again now, so it's all good. I got bored over the winter, I've been dying to go racing, and he's got a real smile on his face. He was unlucky with the pit stop yesterday, but the car was quick. He was quick in qualifying, and he had a stunning lap in qualifying this morning. So it was a frantic session. They all went out a bit earlier than they did yesterday, but they certainly filled the final 7 minutes of qualifying with some frantic action. Let's get some more reaction down on the grid now, though, with Verena Reed.
And I'm here in P11, René Rast. Hello there, how are you doing?
Hello, welcome. I'm good, and you?
Yeah, very good. It's sunshine, we've got plenty of people. So yesterday you were 5th in the race. Today you got to fight a bit harder. How are you going to manage?
I don't know yet. Starting a bit further back, P11 today. It's going to be very difficult, but I just heard that we are on a bit of a different strategy in terms of tires. So yeah, let's see. It's going to be very exciting.
But looking forward to it, obviously, and I guess it's good to be back in Oschersleben since 2015, the first time.
Yeah, definitely. Racing in DTM is always spectacular, so I'm looking forward to it. And I think we're gonna see a lot of interesting fights today.
I think so too. Thank you so much. Best of luck, René. And now we're going to see Calvin van der Linde where he is, and he's probably already waiting, eager also to get into the car. So let's find out. He's starting from P14, and where is he? There he is. Got a big smile in the face as always, in best mood next to the boss. Hello there, how are you doing, Calvin?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Obviously, you never like talking to me when you're a bit further back, but let's see if maybe we can talk later on in the front. I mean, it's going to be a tough race, honestly, but knowing you, you're going to push as hard as you can.
Yeah, we're always fighters, you know us by now. Yesterday was a good race from P10 to P6, so we have the potential to go forwards. We just got really unlucky the last 2 days in qualifying. It's been quite a messy qualifying on both occasions, but I'm really excited. I think we have a great car, so thanks to the whole app team. They do a great job. They do a great job on the strategy as well, so yeah, let's see what we can do today.
And all in all, I mean, it's a whole new DTM era. What is it like for you? I mean, it's new. We've got so many people here. It seems like the spirits are really good, right?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, a lot of new faces that I haven't raced against in my career until now. A lot of quick youngsters as well coming in. So, yeah, pretty impressive to see. Some new challenges coming up this year. But as you know, it's a long season. There'll be races where we're strong, races where maybe not so strong like today. But we're going to wait for our time to come, get the points in the meantime, and then hopefully later on we'll be able to talk about a podium or race win.
But all in all, I mean, it's so many different brands, as you said, new faces. And for you guys, it's also fantastic. Always, I mean, you want the competition. That's all you want, don't you?
Yeah, and then it's all about the close competition, the top 20 within half a second. I don't think we see that anywhere in the world. So that's always great for a driver. Not when you're standing at the back of the grid, because you know it's even more difficult to move forwards. But it's great for the fans. I hope they enjoy the racing.
All right, well, thank you so much and best of luck for the race. And I've got Hans-Jürgen Abt here as well. Sorry, I didn't want to ignore you early on just saying the boss is there. But how are you doing and how does it feel being here in the DTM with a new era? How does it feel?
Very good. It's a great part to be here and we try to do our best job. It's a very competitive series and we'll see what's happening in the race.
You definitely got a new look with your beard. But it's everyone's casual here, it seems, and it seems to be really, really good atmosphere, right?
Yes, it's a young, traditional atmosphere. A lot of good people working in the new DTM, and I feel that we have a good future. We have to improve with all our things, but in the end, we are happy to compete here in DTM.
Absolutely, and all in all, I mean, you guys have a good strategy. I mean, obviously for Calvin, just speaking to him, it's going to be difficult coming from the middle field, basically.
Yeah, it's really tough to overtake here. We saw it yesterday, but it's a very close competition with all cars. But we will see. If we have a good strategy, we have the chance to score points. I think it's very important to score points of all the season, and in the end, we will see what's happened in the result.
And Oschersleben, all in all, I mean, it's pretty hot. We've got a very high temperature on the track. How tough do you think is the race going to be? I mean, we saw it yesterday, but it wasn't as hot.
I think our car is good on tire management. I think maybe it's a chance to overtake in the end some cars. Yesterday we overtook the BMW, and we will see. But we are competitive, but in the end we have to overtake some cars.
Right. Well, best of luck. Thank you so much. And now we are so ready to get racing and hear your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yeah, great to hear from Hans-Jürgen out there. One of the great things about Abt Sportsline is they have these fantastic team shirts, always very funky team shirts that they have for the personnel. I'm sure Hans has got a say in that as well. 23 years since that team first raced in the DTM back in 2000. So you heard from Kelvin van der Linde, third in the championship 2 years ago, who is having to start from 14th on the grid, which is actually a bit harder than his brother Sheldon, the reigning champion. Bad qualifying, bad race yesterday, and although briefly he was on provisional pole position in that frantic final few minutes of qualifying this morning, he wound up, Sheldon, back in 15th spot on the grid. You also heard from our top two on the grid, the young guns, Tommy Preining with his first ever DTM pole position, having qualified 6th yesterday, and Tim Heinemann, who, well, the very answer that he gave to say, well, yesterday I was second, which is the first of the losers, tells you all you need to know. He ought to have been absolutely over the moon with that on his DTM debut. So second place for him yesterday, behind Frank Pereira. So Frank, with 28 points, the championship leader, because he got 3 points for qualifying on pole. He won the race, top 15 score points now. 20 points for Tim Heinemann in second in the championship. And then he added another 2 points to that earlier on today to bring it down to 6 points in terms of the gap from first to second in the championship. So 28 and 22 points. Jack Aitken qualified on the front row yesterday and is third after a podium yesterday in the Ferrari on its debut in 17 points he's got. But like Sheldon van der Linde and Marco Wittmann, who had bad qualifying twos, it's not been a great qualifying for either Jack Aitken, who is back in 17th spot, having qualified on the front row yesterday, or yesterday's winner, from Pereira, only 18th on the grid, so he's got a lot of work to do. It's been a bit better for the Mercedes drivers, but in qualifying, it's all been dominant from the Porsches, because you've got Porsches filling 5 of the first 7 places on the grid. You saw Clement Schmidt on the grid with third place. He is the first of the Lamborghinis, just out of Mirko Bortolotti. He's had another good qualifying, but we'll hope for a better race than yesterday, where he slipped back from a potential podium position into 8th place. We're about to find out how it all unfolds. So we come to the Motorsport Arena here at Oschersleben for race 2 of the championship. The grid is set, the weather is beautiful. A 3.7 kilometre long circuit awaits with lots of challenges for the drivers. Chris Hartley here in the commentary box to talk you through the second round of the championship. And alongside me, it's great to have with me in the comms box, Brian Oliver. Brian, looking forward to this one.
I'm so looking forward to this after yesterday's race, which was fantastic. I'll tell you who else is looking forward to it. A massive crowd here at the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena.
Absolutely. So this circuit has some key areas. The 14 turns that you have, the run over the start-finish line, it can be critical. The rolling start we've got coming up. You've had some incidents there in the past, as you've seen. And then the tight squeeze into turn 2, 2004. Tom Chicken Christensen overtaking one another there side by side. It is an overtaking opportunity. And out of the last corner, an opportunity as well. Manuel Reuter, who is here in his role as a team manager these days, was a winner here in the past. We haven't been here as DTM since 2015. But Manuel Reuter now with the Exler team as a team manager, having managed with Grasser Racing team last year, still very much a part of the DTM. So bumper crowd, as you were saying, Brian. It was busy yesterday. I think it's even busier today.
Yeah, I tried to make my way through the paddock a little bit earlier, and I had hard work. I tell you what, Decra are giving out an awful lot of those red hats. They're giving them to anyone who'll take them, and they need them today because these conditions are perfect as we have a look at the starting order.
Yeah, so Thomas Preining, Tim Heinemann on the front row, Clement Schmidt, Mirko Bortolotti on row 2, Dennis Olsen with a good qualifying in the Porsche ahead of Ayenjan Nguyen. They're the top 6 drivers. Then behind them, Engelhardt and Engel on row 4. A very good, brilliant effort from him, second best of the Mercedes, and he's up there in the top 10, as is Lucas Auer on his return to fitness after his incident at Daytona at the start of the year. So good qualifying actually for Lucas. The Mercedes seemed a bit more on it. And then you got René Rast, who we heard from. He's the best of the BMWs, but the BMWs are down the order, aren't they? Shelton van der Linde looked like he got things sorted after going out slightly later than everybody else in qualifying this morning and actually being on provisional pole for a while. We thought, well, this is good, he's back. But then everybody got quicker and quicker and quicker in the last few minutes, and he's back in the middle of the pack now.
Yes, the track got faster and faster as qualifying went on today, and I think tyre preservation is going to be quite important during this race because degradation could be high in these conditions. Also, a lot of interest on yesterday's winner, Frank Pereira, and also Jack Aitken. Of course, having been first and third respectively, they are carrying a success ballast in this race, 20 kilos to Pereira, 5 kilos extra for Jack Aitken. They didn't have it in qualifying, but that is going to hamper their progress even more from a long way back on the grid.
Yeah, absolutely right. Even harder, as if it needed to be. And it's a tricky you can overtake here. We saw it yesterday, but it's trickier than some circuits to get through at Oschersleben. So as we were hearing from Hans-Jürgen Abt, the key this season might just be win when you can, get on the podium when you can, but just keep scoring points because it's going to be one of those seasons, I think, with it being so competitive, Brian, where we are going to get loads of different winners, we're going to get loads of different drivers on the podium, and it's, at the end of the day, going to be about consistency and scoring points on a regular basis.
Indeed, and as Calvin van der Linde said, the tracks are very different. They're going to be strong at some, not so at others. I mean, you think of Sachsenring, the undulating Sachsenring. Couldn't be any more different to this, even anti-clockwise, than the wide expanses of Nürburgring, Hockenheim, Lausitzring, and of course Norrisring, a completely different setup to Oschersleben. So lots of opportunities for different drivers and different brands to shine as we move through the season.
Quick recap of the rules. We went through them yesterday, but it's changed a lot in DTM. So longer races is the first thing to say. 2 60-minute plus 1 lap races. They're 5 minutes longer than the races from the last few years. They're on Pirelli tyres as we get the start board. Dave Riding, who was out doing some training with some of the DTM drivers over the winter, the British slalom champion. So he gets to hold the Start Your Engines board aloft today. But all on Pirelli tyres. The longer races, as Brian said, a slight change to the success ballast as well. It's still the top 3 from the previous race, but it's now 20 kilograms for the previous race winner. It was 25, 10 if you were second, it was 15, and it's still 5 for third. So, but that still makes a big difference when you are considering the fact that 24, well, actually, I think it was 26 cars in the end in qualifying. We're all covered by 9/10 of a second. We've got a new balanced performance system, the very established SRO Motorsports Group performance system, balanced performance system that is being used. And pit stops, still a mandatory pit stop in the race. You still just change tyres, you still have to change the rears before the fronts. There's no refuelling still, but it's a narrower pit window. You have to come in between the 20th and the 40th minute, and we've got the penalty lap as well, which is new to DTM, where there is a penalty box on the way out of turn 3, and if you get a lighter penalty, rather than doing a drive-through or getting a 5-second penalty, which would rather ruin your race, you have to drive 1 lap through that penalty box, and through that penalty box area you have to stay at 50 kilometres an hour off the racing line, which, depending on how things are going in the race, could cost you 3 or 4 or 5 positions, but still gives you a chance, Brian, of actually getting something out of the race.
It's a useful tool in the armoury of Sven Stopper, our race director. As we say, a lot less than a drive-through penalty. A drive-through penalty will put you to the back of the pack in many cases. What he may do is he may award more than 1 penalty lap for certain crimes that may be committed. So a driver might be instructed to do 2 or 3, and we saw that yesterday. A driver being required to pass through the penalty box at no more than 50 kilometres an hour for 3 consecutive laps. And of course, it's well off the racing line. The driver has to prepare for it, has to slow down going into turn 3 so they can come out nice and tight. So I think it's a great thing that they brought into DTM. Really adds to it without ruining races for what can be fairly minor penalties.
So Frank Pereira is the championship leader, only 6 clear now of Tim Heinemann. Jack Aitken is third, but both Frank and Jack are further down the grid. Tim is right up there on the front row of the grid. Ricardo Feller's a bit further back than yesterday. He was the best of the Audis. He's 4th in the championship. SSR Performance, Stefan Schlund's team, lead with their new partnership with Lamborghini. They got 33 points yesterday. Talksport WRT got their first podium yesterday, and the Porsche team are 2nd in the points on 27, and Amp Sportsline are 3rd on 23 points. Lamborghini are the early leaders of the Manufacturers' Championship. They got 33 points, Porsche 29, and Audi 3rd on 23 points. So the drivers then just about to come round turn 12. Row 1 is Thomas Preining and Tim Heinemann. Row 2, Clement Schmidt and Mirko Bortolotti. Row 3, Dennis Olsen and Oyenjan Nguyen. Row 4, Christian Engelhardt and Maro Engel. Row 5 to complete the top 10. Josef Owego got points on his debut yesterday in the Mercedes. And Lucas Auer rounding out the top 10 as they make their way through the final turn, ready for the rolling start. Round 2 of DTM 2023 is about to roar into life as the red lights go out and we go racing with Tommy Preining looking to hold on to pole position and turn it into an early race lead. He's got right behind him Clement Schmidt in the Lamborghini, who's made a good start and has gone into 2nd. Heinemann will tap back in behind in 3rd. Dennis Olsen's made a good start in the bright green Porsche. He's there in 4th place, so he's got ahead of Bortolotti, who's tucking into 5th. And then right behind him is the white and blue Porsche of Christian Engelhardt. Bortolotti's looking at the inside of Dennis Olsen as they go into turn 3, side by side as the Italian got through nearly, but Dennis Olsen still got his foot down hard on the pedal on the outside there as they go towards the left-hander at turn 4. Bortolotti's still looking at the inside. They almost make contact, but still the Lamborghini is behind the Porsche, and that was brave stuff from the Norwegian Dennis Olsen to keep the Italian behind him. Perfect start meanwhile for Thomas Preining. Further down the order, you got some quick drivers like Van der Linde, Marco Wittmann, Lucas Stoltz trying to come through. Also trying to come through the pack, you've got a couple of the quick Porsche drivers as well. You go board with Sheldon Van der Linde from 15th on the grid, trying to find his way through the order, trying to get his first championship point of the season. So he goes on David Schumacher around the outside all the way to turn 11. He's going to be going for it, I reckon. All guns blazing then for Sheldon Van der Linde in the early stages of this race. But as they come to the completion of lap 1, great start for Thomas Preining. Really good start for Clement Schmidt in 2nd place. Sparks fly from the back of the 2nd place Lamborghini. And then in 3rd place, Tim Heinemann, and running way out wide in the background, a couple of cars, including Marco Wittmann's BMW, the Project 1 car, the Scheffler backed car of number 11, 2-time champion Marco Wittmann, all over the grass. A frantic start. Some brave driving out there from the likes of Dennis Olsen and Clement Schmidt, but actually, Brian, everybody survives, or do they?
Don't speak too soon. Mara Engel, who had a spin in qualifying this morning, you don't see that happen very often. He and René Rast, an awful lot of experience between those two pilots getting together. Looks like there's no harm done. Everybody pointing in the right direction, but it just shows how fierce the fighting is in the middle of the pack.
You got likes of Lauren Heinrich trying to come through the Porsche as well. He's gained some positions up to 19th place, top 15 score points. Sheldon van der Linde holding station in 15th. He just dropped back initially, but as we saw, he can get that one place back at least from David Schumacher. He's got his brother actually, Kelvin van der Linde, so if they could work together, that would be pretty handy for both of them. In the background, Ricardo Feller running a bit wide in the blue, Sportsline Audi, and behind him we've got Sheldon van der Linde's BMW about to go on the inside of Mick V's over on the attack. And the number one comes through and gains another place. So he's on a charge, on a mission as he needs to be. I reckon that car is quick. It just hasn't come together for him in qualifying because he was really quick on Friday. He's got ahead of his brother as well, who's a couple of places behind him. So I reckon that'll be up to 13th place now for the champion.
Oh, he is a man on a mission. You can just see the body language of the car as he is so aggressively trying to push his way through the field. He knows there's potential in that Schubert Motorsport BMW, and he's caught up in the traffic. Still more battles further back. Meanwhile, Tommy Preining is opening up the gap at the front. That's Thierry Vermeulen in the Verstappen.com car on the outside with Marco Wittmann trying to come back after that early mistake.
And here's the brilliant rear-facing camera from Jack Aitken's Ferrari 396. He's looking back at Frank Pereira, yesterday's winner, but they're back in 16th and 17th positions. They're both outside the points. Ricardo Feller, look in your mirrors. There's a big red BMW. It's got number 1 on it. And it's Sheldon van der Linde trying to get 12th place away from you. So he's already started to make progress here, and he's in the points, really, for the first time all weekend long as they attack this chicane through the left and right kink at turns 8 and 9. The brilliant Bollard camera there rumbles past. Either that was a very brave camera operator, and through comes Thomas Preining controlling things at the head of the field.
That's a great view from there. René Rast has received a warning from the race steward for forcing another car off the track, that being the Morrow Engel car, the yellow Mambo, which joins the DTM this year. So René Rast perceived to be the cause of that problem that we saw earlier on. Sven Stobber really on the ball there, and Lucas Auer also going wide. Great to have him on the grid after recovery from that injury that he received over the winter. But Lucas Auer pressing hard, everybody giving it full beans. Look at Sheldon van der Linde along the pit straight. He knows he's got to make up the spaces. He's almost onto the grass into turn 1. If he can get it on the outside, looks like damage to Ricardo Feller. To me, I saw smoke coming off, or is it just locking up a tyre? But it looks to me as though Feller might be in trouble.
Well, it might be okay. It's bodywork rubbing on the right rear, and that might then go away after a while when it rubs down. Flashing the lights is Sheldon van der Linde. He's getting up the inside of Ricardo Feller. He's going to get through and into 12th place. Feller's got no chance of fending him off on the run through to the next left-hander. So another place gain then for Sheldon van der Linde. The fact that you've got Lucas Auer, Sheldon van der Linde, Ricardo Feller, 3 absolute quality drivers battling outside of the top 10 in the middle of the pack tells you everything you need to know about how competitive DTM 2023 is going to be. So van der Linde then trying now to get his head down to catch his next target, which is going to be the driver that he beat to the championship title last year. Last year's vice champion in the blue and white number 22 Mercedes there, Lucas Auer. So fantastic battling at the head of the field, and we've got a new new absolute best first sector from Tim Heinemann, the number 9 Porsche in 3rd place, trying to catch up to Clement Schmidt, but a new absolute best middle sector from the race leader, Tommy Preining, who's trying to get his 3rd win in DTM. As we see Lauren Heinrich there, and he's just got up the inside of Frank Pereira for 17th place at the end of the lap. So Pereira, yesterday's winner, dropping out of the points again as Sheldon van der Linde puts his head down. We'll see what sort of pace the car has got now. He's got a clear track in front of him as he tries to get on terms with the Mercedes of Auer.
This is why he has number 1 on the door, isn't it? Really impressive stuff. Preining still opening up the gap at the front. Of course, this is a long race. There is a pit stop, but looking after the tyres, we said it at the top of the show, tyre degradation could be an issue. Looking at the restart here, it really struck me how it was Dennis Olsen who did to Tim Heinemann what Tim Heinemann tried to do to everybody else yesterday, and that is get round the outside on that hotel turn. We look at this as the field head into turn 1.
Yeah, brilliant on board from Sheldon van der Linde off the start here, from 15th on the grid, so he almost got past Ricardo Feller early on. He's on the outside. He did get in front of him around the outside here, but what's going to happen is going to be pushed right to the edge of the circuit through turn 2. He's got no choice now. There's the contact, and then Feller then pushes Sheldon van der Linde wide. Look, there were 3 abreast up ahead, and whoa, he did well to control that, and that was where Schumacher got past him, so he lost 2 or 3 places, lost another one to the Lamborghini coming through as well of Mick V's over. Then he got V's over, later on in the race. There were 3 abreast. Watch the contact to the left of your picture in a moment. There were 3 together. Fella was in a sandwich, wasn't he? With nowhere to go, really, in the Audi. And forced out wide onto the grass with Sheldon van der Linde. Answer to the question, how quick is Sheldon? Answer, quick. Absolute best first sector of the race, because he's got a clear track in front of him for the first time, as we see René Rast doing a bit of wheel banging as well. With that was with Maro Engel that we saw, wasn't it? That was fantastic action. Nürburgring 24-hour race winner against a 3-time DTM champion. Quality everywhere in this field.
How quick is Sheldon van der Linde? Jolly quick. Well, the steward is taking a look, and he has shown him the black and white flag for pushing Ricardo Feller, you think? So that was the damage. I mean, very much a racing incident, you'd say. So the steward keeping an eye on that. But Sheldon van der Linde does actually need to watch what he's doing, because a visit to the penalty lap would undo all that hard work he's done. As that Lucas Auer that we have another look at, who went onto the dirt slightly.
Yeah, that sort of backed Feller up into van der Linde, who then got him later in the lap, didn't he? But Sheldon will say, well, hang on a minute. He had me off on the grass at the start of the race, so what are you investigating me for? But they've got to be strict with these drivers. It's all well and good being close, but it's got to be fair out there as well. It's aggressive, but it has been good racing so far. Oh, Lucas Stotz, look at this, a nightmare weekend in the number 4 Mercedes. He's running around in 25th position, having had that crash at the start of the week into the testing on Thursday. And the team and the driver have been on the back foot ever since with their replacement car that they brought in for Saturday morning. So there's Thomas Preining there. Olaf Mante, the hugely established Mante racing team, back in action. Their pit stops were a problem yesterday, but the car is definitely quick. And at the moment, their drivers went 1st and 4th. Thomas Preining and Dennis Olsen, who both were winners for Porsche last season, with indeed Thomas Preining at the Norris Ring, picking up Porsche's first ever win in the DTM. So Clement Schmidt doing well in second. 2 Austrians, first and second. The German Tim Heinemann in third. Dennis Olsen from Norway in fourth. Mirko Bortolotti from Italy in fifth. Christian Engelhardt from Germany in sixth. Engin Güven from Turkey in seventh. And then we got Awega, Rast and Engel rounding out the top 10. Auer is 11th. Sheldon van der Linde 12th. Ricardo Feller 13th. Mick Wieshofer 14th. And Calvin van der Linde is 15th. They're the point scorers at the moment. But the Ferrari's not far back now, is it? In 16th place of Jack Aitken as he tries to come forward back into the points.
So looking at the order, it's Porsche from Lamborghini, from Porsche, from Porsche, from Lamborghini, from Porsche, from Porsche. You see a pattern going on there?
We've just seen Maro Engel coming past René Rast because René backed off. He was told by race control, you've got to let Maro Engel back through. So we saw that contact, and René Rast in the blue BMW there, the Schubert car, instructed to let Maro Engel back past him, which is why they just swapped places.
Yeah, that's such wise stewarding, isn't it? We don't want penalty laps for something like that. Swap the places back, do it all again. That's great decision from Sven Stopper, our race director.
Yeah, so back up to 9th place for Maro Engel, on board with Lucas Auer then. Working hard here to try and get to full fitness after his horrendous accident with the broken vertebra and all the rehab that he's been going through since then. It's amazing, really, that he's been able to get back in the car. But he's a gutsy young man, isn't he, Lucas Auer? A real feisty driver, and he's always great fun to watch out on track as well. So if he can just get through this first couple of rounds of the championship and get some points, get some finishes, then he can really start to attack. Later in the season, as around goes René Rast once, twice into the gravel trap for the BMW. Yeah, that's going to be buried, isn't it? There's no way he's getting out of there. Is he missing the right rear?
Yes, there's no wheel on it.
Right wheel's gone. And René Rast is brilliant, but even he can't drive a 3-wheel BMW.
Sheared off at the hub, isn't it? Wow, because it wouldn't be often you'd see René Rast making a mistake, so the car has failed, and the rear or right rear of that BMW spears him off into the gravel trap. Inevitably, we were going to get the safety car, but that's a big drama for René Rast.
Couldn't have been at a better place, really, with that big gravel trap to stop him there on the way into turn 2. Well, that would still have been hairy, wouldn't it, at the end of the start-finish straight?
Rather him than me.
Yeah, well, like you were saying, as it was happening, I thought, I genuinely can't remember any time seeing René Rast spin a car.
Yeah.
He never does, but, yeah, you can't do much when you've got 3 wheels, can you?
I wonder if that contact with Maro Engel might have sheared something, damaged something, fractured something. It was.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that is just a delayed reaction to that collision that we saw.
Yeah, so main thing is that René is okay, because that was high speed and the gravel trap certainly did its job there. But yeah, you wouldn't have wanted that to happen at a different part of the circuit. And yeah, just coming out of the corner, gone.
under the car momentarily.
Zero chance of doing anything with that. And luckily got a bit of a gap to the cars behind, hadn't he? Otherwise, that might have collected him. We just had the onboard from Lucas Ayer, actually. If he'd been a bit closer, Lucas, that would have been a bit airy as well. And it's gone on the way into the corner, actually, hasn't it? And yeah, you're right, he rode over his own wheel, didn't he?
Yeah. But actually, although it's one of the fastest parts of the circuit, as you say, also one of the better parts, because those gravel traps are deep. I mean, I tried running through one yesterday and that wasn't happening. So they are made to stop big cars like BMWs that are going at high speed, and that's exactly what it's done. Fortunately, he didn't trip over his own wheel, because that would have been a whole nother accident. He's come to a stop nice and safe. Safety car will drag that one out of the kitty litter, and we will be back racing again. But spectacular views looking back from Maro Engel.
Yeah, and I wonder if it started to go before that, because I know he let Maro Engel back through, but he lost a bit of ground to him already on that previous lap, hadn't he? So it started to work loose, I don't know, but yeah, what's happening? Eyes wide open. I can't believe I've just seen René Rast off the road. But yeah, no, minus a wheel, but thankfully he's okay. But out of the race, safety car deployed. He's going to get a lift back to the paddock. So frustrating start to his tenure as a BMW driver. Actually, I'd just let him drive if I were you. Put him on the other side of the car. He'd get back quicker if René's behind the wheel. So
one of the headlines just during the winter was how well would he adapt going from Audi to BMW, and he's like, it's a whole different driving style, I've had to change everything. But actually, René Rast, he just does it, doesn't he?
Drive a wheelbarrow fast, couldn't he?
Something on the rear right, so concentrate on your...
Some issue with the rear right of Sheldon van der Linde's car.
Not going to inspire you with confidence. When was that the team saying to him there's something on the rear right?
Yeah, it was. And remember that contact on that one with Ricardo Fellow? He was on the right-hand side. That was where the hit was, wasn't it? When he got out onto the grass coming out of turn 2.
Oh, it's drama at Schubert Motorsport now, isn't it? Both cars potentially in strife. Certainly one in strife, but the other one. And I can imagine getting a message like that. Sheldon is going to have that in the back of his mind now.
He'll try and forget it in a way. It's pretty brutal over that sausage curve on the way into the chicane on the right. No, a lot of the BMW M2 Cup drivers from earlier on I was speaking to have been told you've got to stay off that because it was wrecking a few of the cars yesterday in the M2 Cup. So that's something you've got to bear in mind around Oschersleben. As we get some news now from Verena.
And I managed to grab Thorsten Schubert. So of course now we're eager to find out what exactly happened. How can just a tire fall off?
The tire is the vamp is kaputt and there's a sheet.
Yeah, big trouble obviously. What I heard was that there was a little contact and that just happened. So now we just need to wait for René to arrive and then let's see how he's doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So back to the commentator, we're going to wait for René.
Yeah, I don't think René's going to be obviously in great spirits, but these things happen every now and again. But he'll probably be able to give us confirmation of just how that happens. So Thorsten Schubert there and the team with one car left in the race. They've got a great driver pairing for this season, haven't they, with Sheldon van der Linde and René Rast. So a replay of this incident we were talking about as they run together there. And there it was right on the rear corner, wasn't it? The front right of Maro Engel's car, the left rear of René Rast's car. And that seems to have been the cause of the ultimate problem a few laps later. I'll tell you what, Maro Engel did well to not go to the barriers there because it was a proper hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. But he's been in the wars today, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's just while we're looking at this, it's a good opportunity to look back and see how yesterday's 1-3 are doing. Jack Aitken and Frank Pereira, well, the bad news is... Actually, no, not that was the right rear, wasn't it? Yeah. And the contact was on the left. But then again, I mean, there was so much going on there. So maybe it wasn't that contact that caused it. Back to Aitken and Pereira, 16th and 17th. So they've got the success penalty. Didn't have great qualifying this morning. It's going to be a long afternoon for them, isn't it?
Yeah, just try and get something out of it. I think 2 places away from being in the points in 17th place. Safety car coming in this lap. Brian and I ran around the circuit last night just to get a feel for it. Well, Brian ran. I jogged very slowly. He was waiting for me, bless him. But it's a pretty flat circuit. But this part here is a gradual climb, actually, isn't it? It's a fairly level circuit. You did climb all the way up the back straight, all the way up through turn 11 and up to the exit to turn 12. And then thankfully, because I was running out of breath at that point, it's flat for the last couple of corners, isn't it?
Yes, 23 metres of gradient change, according to my notes. But we're getting ready now for the restart of this.
Here we go. Tommy Pryning then had built up a second advantage, but he's made that restart look absolutely mint, hasn't he? Because he's going to be pulling away as he comes out of turn 14, away from Clement Schmidt. Watch Heinemann, though. He's been feisty so far this weekend in the number 9 Porsche, and he's lining up the Clement Schmidt Lamborghini here to try and find a way through. Dennis Olsen there in 4th place, and then you've got Bortolotti with Engelhardt, and there he goes up the inside through and into 2nd place. You could see the body language of Tim Heinemann was like, yeah, I'm going to go for it, but Clement Schmidt trying to come back at him on the way to turn 3, closes the door just in time. Then you got Dennis Olsen in the Porsche just behind as well, trying to find a way past. This is all great news for Thomas Pryning. He'll get even further up the road. But Tim Heinemann is here for one thing this weekend. It's to win races, and win races this season, isn't it?
Yeah, he knew he had to get past Schmidt quickly because Olsen was going to be there. And the problem is you go around the outside of somebody, you don't make it stick, you suddenly get railroaded back down the pack. So he had to get on with it. He seized the moment by the scruff of the neck, to mix the metaphors, got the job done as quickly as possible, up into 2nd. He is a man on a mission this weekend.
Clement Schmidt trying to hold on to his first podium then in 3rd place, but no pressure, Clements. But if you let the next one through, it's going to be a Porsche 1, 2, 3. So all eyes from Lamborghini are on the Austrian. Just got a bit wide out of the turn. It was because, really, though, of the pressure that was coming from Tim on the restart, wasn't it?
Yes, putting all the pressure on there, and he actually made that look easy. That's one of the Lamborghinis further back going a bit wild. Yeah, Mick Wiesover, he's had a torrid time of it this weekend as well. And there's the 83 car, Patrick Niederhauser, another driver who's been at the wrong end of the timesheets for his liking. Didn't even finish yesterday's race. Well out of the points at the moment.
Kelvin van der Linde ahead of Mick Wiesover as a result then of his excursion. So Kelvin up to 13th place now. Sheldon van der Linde behind Lucas Auer still, but of course Lucas is 10th now. Sheldon is 11th after the demise of René Rast. That's Pryning, Heinemann, Schmidt the top 3, Olsen in 4th, Bortolotti in 5th, 6th place for Engelhardt, who's been very impressive as always this weekend, with Guen in 7th. Owega, really impressive. We haven't seen a great deal of him in the races so far. Joseph Owega, points yesterday and potentially a top 10 finish at the moment, in 8th place ahead of Maro Engel, Lucas Auer, Sheldon van der Linde, Ricardo Feller, Kelvin van der Linde, Mick Wiesover and Lauren Heinrich in the points now in 15th.
You can't miss Yusuf Owega. His car's bright pink. Oh, there he is. Interesting to see quite a few of the cars for the first couple of laps weaving. Despite the temperatures, 22.4 degrees is what our thermometer's saying in the commentary position, but the driver's weaving to try and get heat into those tyres after that restart. Incident between car 3 and 19 under investigation. That, of course, is Kelvin van der Linde and Mick Wiesover. So that moment where we saw Wiesover going wide, under investigation by our race stewards, I'm wondering if the instruction is going to come to swap back round again.
Yeah, pit stop window has just opened, I mean, just a couple of seconds ago, and timing it to perfection to dive straight in. I think it was Ricardo Feller, wasn't it? He was straight in. So here comes Ricardo, early pit stop for him. That looks like Vermeulen coming in as well. And then Schumacher, so Jack Aitken coming in, then Schumacher behind him. A long, long pit entrance here. Feels like forever, I'm sure, if you're a racing driver. We've got 5 of them making their way into the pits then. Niederhauser had that moment on the grass previously. Stoltz comes in, Alessia Deleda, Arjun Maini coming in as well. And Luca Engstler is another one that's in the pits.
I'd suggest that maybe Ricardo Feller, he had that bodywork rubbing, if you remember. That wouldn't have done his Pirelli tyre any good at all. So I should think getting in as early as possible for some fresh rubber was probably a priority. I was kind of half expecting to see the gaffer tape come out. Good stop, though, from Ricardo Feller's team, and he's back out.
Yeah, and it's going to be the first of the pit stoppers. Schumacher and Maini behind, and then it's going to be Jack Aitken, 4th of the pit stoppers, and then Luca Engstler, I think, will be at the back of the queue. The former TCR Germany champion, so careful on the throttle. No tyre warmers in DTM, and we saw yesterday Thomas Pryning coming out of the pits, going straight onto the grass here, didn't we, as he got keenly on the accelerator. So these are your leading pit stoppers at the very first throws of the 20-minute pit window. So out they come. See, it's like being on ice, isn't it, on those brand new tyres? It costs you almost a lap around here, because there is the race leader. And it takes about half a lap to get the tyres up to temperature. They're like ball bearings, and you are on ice for the first half lap. You turn the wheel left if you get to a left-hander, and he just wants to go straight on.
Every driver I've spoken to this weekend has said there is zero grip around the hotel turn, which is turn 2. Even on, well, especially on cold tyres, so easy to go straight on. We have seen so many cars doing that across all the classes that are racing this weekend.
So Thomas Preining builds a lead up to 1.8 seconds from Tim Heinemann, who's now 1.2 seconds clear of Clement Schmidt in 3rd place. Right behind him, Dennis Olsen. We're looking back from Lucas Auer, last year's championship runner-up to last year's champion. Remember, Lucas won the penultimate race of the season. A really excellent display at Hockenheim to get him right in the fight for the title going into the last day, but the race just didn't quite come to him. Qualifying didn't quite come to him. He had the success ballast of the car as well. Having won the penultimate race for the last race, he just couldn't quite get up there as much as he needed to. And it was Sheldon van der Linde who wrapped up his first championship title in DTM, but it was still Lucas's best ever season in DTM. And of course, he's one of the drivers that came from Class 1, and he really did adapt very well to GT3 cars when they first came into DTM the year before last. All the other cars going into the pits, as we've got Thomas Preining and Tim Heinemann going through. We can go to the pits now, though, and get some more news and interviews from Verena.
And I managed to find René Rast. René, what exactly happened? I mean, your tire just rolled off. What happened?
Yeah, I think there were lots of contacts in the first couple of laps, and I lost the complete wheel, including the rim. So I guess we had some contact somewhere on the right-hand side, and that's why I lost the rim with the tire itself.
So really bad luck, just.
Yeah, just unfortunate.
All right, thank you very much, René. Back to you.
Always speaks, though, doesn't he, René Rast? And well, I've said it all before, but he'll be back, no doubt about it. So Bortolotti, Auer, Wieshofer, Kelvin van der Linde, Vermeulen, Drudy all come into the pits. Here's the onboard with Kelvin van der Linde, released out behind Lucas Auer. Lucas is not going to be the first one out of the pits, is it? It's going to be Bortolotti. And then you look to the left of the screen for the other pit stoppers to come through, but Bortolotti should be clear, even though it's going to take him a while to get the tyres up to temperature. Van der Linde, the 3rd of the drivers to exit the pits as well, then Wieshofer, the 4th of them. And then you've got Ayenjan Guven coming through, and Guven then it's going to go right to the middle of this pack with Ricardo Feller. They go past Kelvin van der Linde, so Guven and Feller, having made their pit stops, going through the pack now. Bortolotti's the leading pit stopper. And then you got Lucas Auer looking back from him at Ayenjan Guven, and look at Ricardo Feller nibbling up the inside in the Audi. Contact there between the Porsche and the Audi. Closing the gap was Guven, but still feisty move that from Ricardo Feller. Can't bully me out the way, he says. I'm going to come through like it or not. And Ricardo Feller, with his tyres up to temperature, is now going to drive past Lucas Auer, who's still got slippery rubber here as he gets up to speed. Lucas Auer, who was 10th, wasn't he, before the pit stops, is going to be coming back at them shortly. But Bortolotti, the best of them, and then into the pits now. We've got the number 90 Porsche of Dennis Olsen, which was running in 4th place.
Quite a lot of the cars going early. Look at him weaving, going up the pit lane, just trying to get heat in as soon as possible. Of course, he has to keep to the speed limit in the pit lane. Break the speed limit, he's going to be at least in the penalty box. The strategy of the team, not just getting the drivers in at the optimum time for the tyres, as we see one of the SSR Lamborghinis going wide in the background, but also to try and get them out on some open space in the track so they can get in some hot laps, get them out of traffic. So big strategy in play here by the strategists at the teams.
So those two that are just in the pits are the leading pit stoppers, but they're being hunted down.
Doing great. We gained a couple of positions.
Mega, yeah, they say to Ricardo Feller, he's going well, isn't he? So now he's beginning to hunt down Mirko Bortolotti, but they're both behind Dennis Olsen, and I think possibly also behind the Porsche of Lauren Heinrich, as we get a replay of that move. That was, I'm not giving in, says Ricardo Feller, closing the door, squeezing as much as he could. It was Ayenjan Guven, but Ricardo was coming through nonetheless, so he's trying to get ahead of Bortolotti here, but Olsen and Heinrich are ahead of them, but they are also then struggling to get their tyres up to temperature. And 3rd of the pit stoppers is Bortolotti, 4th of the pit stoppers is Feller, and then Guven and Auer. So early pit stops, much earlier pit stops really from a lot of the drivers than we saw yesterday. This driver had an early pit stop yesterday. It's been a fruitless weekend so far for Marco Wittmann. Changed the rears, they changed the fronts, they dropped it off the jacks, and that looked like a nice stop. He lays down a path of rubber, and the 2-time champion gets back into the race.
Interesting that none of the 1, 2, 3 coming in at the moment, leaving it late in the window. I'd suggest that Tommy Preining has a clear track in front of him. At least he did have before the back markers started coming out in front of him. But as long as he's got that open track, then he is probably going to keep chucking in those laps. Oh, well, that shows what I know, doesn't it? I say he's going to stay out. He comes straight in. No, they should employ me in one of these teams.
So Dennis Olsen easily at the moment the leading pit stopper. He got quite a big gap over next to the drivers, which was Bortolotti. Got Wittmann had gone back out, but he's on the cold tyres. And you got your race leader in there. The second one in the queue. Behind Mick V's over there. He's already been in, hasn't he, Mick V's over? Yes, he has. So that's possibly a problem. Is that a smoky Lamborghini? I think it is.
It is.
So, shame for Mick. He qualified really well yesterday. Qualified pretty well today as well. But I think the race has been very lucky to him, I'm afraid. So in is your race leader. Monte team now work on the car. Monte EMA team with all their experience. Preining has dropped off the jacks. That's a better stop than yesterday, that's for sure. Where he had that nightmare with the front. And Sheldon van der Linde into the pits as well. Got himself up to 9th place, but of course it's all out of sequence, out of sync at the moment, with some of them having pitted, some of them having yet to pit. Had a nightmare pit stop yesterday as well, but all calm this time. So Preining comes out. There's Olsen up to the left of the picture. They were 1st and 4th, respectively, before the pit stop window opened. And so Preining is comfortably going to be the leader of those that have pitted, but got to give it half a lap now to get up to temperature. The other thing that's better, including the pit stop, is the exit to the pits, because this time he keeps it on the road. So here comes Dennis Olsen, look, beginning to hunt him down and close up. He'll want to get past that Lamborghini ASAP. And then you've got Bortolotti, who's still ahead of Fella. Then Sheldon van der Linde. That's pretty good. He's up there, isn't he? Ahead of Gouin, ahead of Auer. He was right behind Lucas Auer beforehand. So Sheldon van der Linde, who was outside of the top 10 before the pit stop window happened, he's got more of a chance of being in around about 6th place, I think, once it all settles down. So not a bad race this so far for the champion. As Tim Heinemann comes in from the lead of the race, Christian Engelhardt will pick up 1st place. Yusuf Owega will pick up 2nd place, the former ADAC GT Masters driver. Heinemann in then for his pit stop, Brian.
Yes, Tim Heinemann, the Top Sport WRT team, get to work on that car. What gorgeous livery that is. A great job done by them. Those tyres will be pretty second-hand. Out into the pit lane he comes, keeping to the speed limit. A lot of the drivers pitting early in this pit window. We've only got 5 cars who have not pitted now. Of course, it's Christian Engelhardt who leads the race from Yusuf Vega, Mauro Engel and Lucas Stoltz. Alessio De Leda, the last of the non-stoppers so far.
Here we go then. Olsen's a lot closer to Preining, look, as they come towards turn 1. So Preining is about to pick up the lead of the race. He's behind at the moment, Tim Heinemann. He's going to get through, but the key thing is that Olsen's going to get him as well, I reckon. So Olsen, having been 4th before the pit stops, I reckon has got a chance of being 2nd when it all settles down. Then he will have a Porsche 1-2 again, but the other way around. Right, get out of the way, says Thomas Preining. You've got cold tyres. You are all over the place. Here comes Dennis Olsen as well. Porsche battling for essentially the lead of the race here, but one of them on the cold tyres. Heinemann, though, we know he's a feisty, determined character, and he ain't going to let them through easily. But the car just drifts wide, and Thomas Preining is going to come through to pick up the virtual lead of the race. And then Dennis Olsen's going to have him as well. Surely now he closes the door just in time before they get to the chicane. He'll have a good chance, though, going onto the back straight. And then you got the next 3 fighting away. Clement Schmidt there, who's the 4th virtually. These are the drivers that have pitted. And then Bortolotti, and then Fella, and he can't get through. So Heinemann's done a good job there, actually, hasn't he, to keep Olsen behind him.
Yes, Tim Heinemann, he's given it a good try to hold on to the lead. You've got to admire his kind of gusto performance there. Brilliant stuff from Tim Heinemann. Made it very wide, but still those tyres are not up to temperature. Contact between them. And through goes the Porsche behind. So Olsen through as well.
Excusez-moi, says Dennis Olsen. I'd like to come through, please. It wasn't as polite as that, was it?
I think the words might have been different, but the sentiment is the same.
Mauro Engel coming out now, just behind this group of cars. Dennis Olsen looks a bit deep into turn 2. No, it's okay, he's fine. So Mauro Engel tucks in behind Ricardo Fellas. Christian Engelhardt leads, Yusuf Owega is 2nd, Lucas Stoltz is 3rd, Alessio De Leda is 4th, and they're the drivers yet to pit. Mauro Engel was the latest lead group driver to come in, so these are effectively 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in the race once it all settles down. And you've got then Heinemann back ahead of Dennis Olsen. So he looked like he was going wide, didn't into turn 2. Heinemann's got the tyres up to temperature now, and he's got back ahead of Olsen. So essentially, second place. Race laps for Wells in Africa. Every lap combined by all the drivers. €4 is given to the project to raise funds for African countries to clean their water, and we're over €6,000 in this race. It's a great sentiment, a great idea from the organisers and from BWT, Better Water Technology. So there we got second, third, fourth and fifth essentially in the race once all the pit stops are done. But yeah, Heinemann back ahead of Olsen, still going well. It's Clement Schmidt in the Lamborghini. And then you got the next Lamborghini, the bright yellow one, from his old teammate from last year, now with the SSR Performance Squad, Mirko Bortolotti, who has ditched the idea. Both he and Feller were pretty late in the pitch yesterday, weren't they? They've ditched that idea. I thought it didn't work yesterday. They both dropped back, so we go for an early one this time, and it looks like the better option, doesn't it?
The stewards have had a look at Dennis Olsen's move, and also with Tim Heinemann. They've investigated it and decided there is no further action necessary. But car number 7 is under investigation. That is Ricardo Feller for safety equipment during the pit stop. So Ricardo Feller, who's doing such a sterling job pushing all the way, it could be that he becomes unseated by a pit stop infringement.
Right, and then we got the move of the replay of Dennis Olsen getting past Tim Heinemann as he got his tyres up to Preining getting past Tim Heinemann as he got his tyres up to temperature. Olsen trying to follow through. This was just after Tim in the number 9 Porsche came out of the pits. And then this is going wide and straight on over the chicane. Sheldon van der Linde in the number 1 BMW. He's got Engine Guen just behind him as well. But I don't think Guen got past in the Porsche.
I don't think Sheldon van der Linde has come out of the pit stop sequence very well at all. He's currently showing in 16th place with only 2 cars left to stop. So Sheldon van der Linde kind of heading in the wrong direction at the moment.
Yeah, and then through turn 14. Not a lot of loss between those two, is there? He comes through, Lucas Howe says, cheers, thanks very much. He goes up the inside of the pair of them. He actually came out pretty well, and he looked like he was on for maybe 6 or 7, but he obviously lost a lot of places on the out lap as he got the tyres up to temperature, Sheldon. So you're right, actually, it's all evened out to be, you know, back in the tail end of the points, possibly sort of around about 13th, 14th place when it all settles down. We've still got Awega, Stoltz and Leda to come into the pits. They're the top 3. Preining is the leading pit stopper, and his advantage much bigger than it was before the pit stops. He's now, well, he's doubled it really to nearly 4 seconds. Look at him all the way ahead in turn 7 as this battle for second comes into turn 7. Great drone shots here tracking the Lamborghini of Mirko Bortolotti, which will be a net 6th place once the top 3 come in and make their pit stops. So
when they do, we are potentially going to have, 4 Porsches in the first 4 positions. So there definitely is a trend here as we listen to team radio from Christian Engelhardt.
Real pressure. Real pressure. I don't care. Drive, drive, drive. If it blows up, it blows up.
Amazing.
Love it. Proper racing driver answer that. I don't care. I'm just going for it. Bit expensive though. Right, yeah. Anyway, yeah, try telling a racing driver to slow down. You might as well talk to a brick wall, haven't you?
Look at Clement Schmidt. He wants to upset the Porsche party, doesn't he? You see him at the back of that queue. Christian Engelhardt at the front. You've got Tim Heinemann, Dennis Olsen, but Clement Schmidt in there looking to make a move, looking very quick indeed. That's Yusufa Vega in the pink Mercedes, not that one, the other one, who has now been passed by Ricardo Feller.
Yeah, so they all charge past Youssef, who's going backwards there. He's just come out of the pits and he's got cold tyres, which is why that's happening. So you've just got Lucas Stoltz coming to the pits now. So yeah, Christian Engelhardt, who pitted a bit after these guys, came out in front of them just. He's getting his tyres up to temperature. He's been told your car might be in trouble. He says, I don't care, I'm going to finish the race. And so, yeah, you've got potentially, as you say, a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4. The first of the Lamborghinis being that man there in Clement Schmidt.
Christian, we have to push or we have to let him go? We have to push or let him go?
I was waiting for the nonplussed reply from Christian Engelhardt. Yeah, whatever.
Probably unbroadcastable.
Possibly. I turned the radio off at that point. Right, so either go quicker, please, or let the other Porsche through, because you know, Tim Heinemann here itching to get past, not able to do so at the moment. And look, all the time, almost a whole straight length clear now is Tommy Preining, as we've got a limping Audi of Kelvin van der Linde. I'm afraid bound for the pits. Good race yesterday. Not a good race today, though, for Kelvin. So he's hobbling back to the pits. And it's going to be 0 points in round 2, I'm afraid, for the South African.
Oh, it's a bad day for AB Sportsline. They've got one car that looks like it's going to retire and the other one being reported to the stewards for an issue during the pit stop. So it's all eyes on Ricardo Feller to score points for the team. He's running in 8th place at the moment. That's a net 7th once Lucas Stoltz has had his pit stop and handed the lead back over to Tommy Preining.
So Stoltz in the lead, he'll drop back. Preining will pick up the lead, and then you've got this queue for what will be second place between number 99 Christian Engelhardt, number 9 Tim Heinemann, number 90 Dennis Olsen, all in Porsches, the 63 Lamborghini of Clement Schmidt, the 92 Lamborghini of Mirko Bortolotti, and the number 7 Audi of Ricardo Feller, who are all in a line, aren't they? And then you're going to have Engel next up behind them. He'll move ahead of Awega, would have thought, soon, up to 9th place. That will become 8th when Stoltz makes his pit stop. And he's not made it back to the pits, has he?
No,
Kelvin van der Linde.
He's in the pit lane, I think. Turn 14. I think he's actually stopped in the pit lane. Let's have a listen.
Fucking hell, man.
Oh.
Fuck.
Apologies.
Okay.
We'll just talk over that. We'll keep talking. How are you doing today, Chris?
Very nice, yeah. Lovely day for it. Apologies for the language.
Yeah, he's off the actual lane, but he's in that turn 14, isn't he? But looks like he should be out of harm's way, so we shouldn't need a safety car.
No, so, well, didn't even get back to the pits, which, you know, just to really ruin his day. He's got to walk back there now, so a real shame for Kelvin. So a frustrating one, hasn't he? Shelton van der Linde, his brother, not having much better time of it in this race, back in 14th place. Fastest lap of the race belongs to the race leader, Thomas Preining, or he will be the race leader once Lucas Stoltz comes in and makes his pit stop. He's 37.7 seconds in front of Lucas Stoltz, but we know with the in and the out, the long in and long out with the pit lane entry and exit here, it takes almost a lap. It takes around about a minute and 18 seconds to get in and out and make your pit stop. So Stoltz will drop back to probably out of the points and probably around about 19th or 20th place at best, I think. So Preining with a comfortable advantage now. Engelhardt was told to get his head down, pull away or let the others through. He's pulled away like he's just a length or so clear now of Tim Heinemann, who's on for a double podium in his first weekend of DTM.
I have to say, we've talked about Yusuf Awega being there or thereabouts all weekend. He's currently showing in 9th place, and once Lucas Stoltz has pitted, which is what he's doing now, it will be Yusuf Awega who will be the leading Mercedes. So he is really doing real well here. He's ahead of Mauro Engel, also in a Mercedes, and indeed Lucas Hauer. Looks like Lucas Stoltz. Oh, this is the end of what has been a dreadful weekend. They've used up a chassis and they've got 2 non-finishes.
Yeah, we've also had Mick Wieshofer and Matteo Drudi have pitted recently as well, so they're out of the running, as is, as we know, René Rast, as is Kelvin van der Linde. So a bit of attrition here. Look at this advantage, though, for Thomas Preining on course for his 3rd DTM win. A massive advantage now of around about 7.6 seconds over number 99 Christian Engelhardt, number 9 Tim Heinemann, and number 90 Dennis Olsen, who had a good pit stop strategy and came through, but it didn't turn out to be as good as Christian Engelhardt. He got himself right up there. Was Engelhardt about 8th place, wasn't he, I think, before the pit stop window?
Yeah, the TalkSport WRT team turned him around really quickly and he got those tyres up to temperature, but it doesn't look to me as though he's got quite the pace of Tim Heinemann behind him as we look at Jack Aitken. Is Jack Aitken off the pace there?
He's going
slowly.
Safety
car's out, that's why.
Yeah, he's going slowed down because there is a safety car. Now, is this Kelvin van der Linde's car?
It's got to be, isn't it? It's got to be.
I haven't seen anyone else go off the road since then, have we?
I think everyone else is moving that is on the track, so I think it's in a dodgy place. It's not from the track, it's from the pit lane. I think if somebody were to spear off on the pit lane, there could be an incident.
Olaf Mante says, come on, we've got an 8-second lead. We don't need a safety car.
No, you haven't.
There's Lucas Stoltz out of the race. Yeah, I mean, if you could have had a worse weekend, please tell me about it, because it's just been a woeful from start to finish from poor old Luca and the team. Have just had one of those weekends where everything seems to go wrong, haven't they? So a few drivers out of the race, safety car out, and Verena is down in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Luca Stoltz. Luca, why did you have to retire the car?
Yeah, we had some vibrations on the front, not sure where it came from. But yeah, we were so far back, and then we played the safe side.
Thank you very much, Luca. Back to you.
Thanks very much. Is that an umbrella flying through the sky?
It's not that windy, is it?
Where's Mary Poppins when you need her?
She fell off just as we cut for her. Yes.
Well, I've literally never seen that before in my life. There you go. Things you didn't think you'd see at the DTM this weekend.
What a great crowd we've got in. It is packed here today. The sun is shining. Everybody's waving. They are being thoroughly entertained. Lots of great racing across many categories here. The headline act, of course, DTM. And boy, have they entertained this weekend. Day 2, race 2 of the weekend. And we've got still 18 minutes left. I don't think it's going to take them long to move that number 3 car. And we should be back to green flag before too long.
Yeah, Vereena's got more news down in the pit lane.
With Martin Tomczyk, Motorsport Director of Abt. Can you tell us what happened with Kelvin van der Linde?
He had a drivetrain issue. It appears suddenly, unfortunately, because obviously we were in good points position and he felt well with the car. But unfortunately it happened on the back straight and he hadn't had any drive anymore, so he had to park the car there not to block the pit entrance.
Right, thank you very much, Martin. Back to you.
Thanks, Vereena. Yeah, great to get the info there. So, powertrain, drivetrain problem, to get the replay of the moment it all went wrong for Kelvin van der Linde.
Let's not have the sound on that one, please.
Yeah, probably not.
We're not going to mic him up for Zandvoort.
He's a bit annoyed, put it that way.
Yeah, just a bit.
Dear, no, but the only thing you can say is that everybody's going to have a bad race this year, because I'm afraid it's the way motorsport goes. So you just got to put it behind you. Car was quick, but good to hear from Martin Tomczyk, the 2011 DTM champion, who works behind the scenes these days. Worked behind the scenes as an organiser last year, but has now moved to be the team manager at Abt, and a long walk back, a long trudge back, I'm afraid, to the pit lane.
I think Lucas Stoltz, Matthias Drudy and Mick Wiesover must have been running over black cats or something, or walking under ladders, because they all had non-finishes yesterday. They're all out of the race today. Mick Wiesover was steaming when he got out of his Lamborghini yesterday. I wasn't going to go and talk to him. And another non-finish, I think, will give him a wide berth. We'll see him with the lederhosen on at the Red Bull Ring later on in the year.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it, for Mick, because he's qualified really well both times, and especially yesterday, 4th on the grid, and then he's had 2 retirements now. So, but the potential is there, and that's all. Yeah, it's a positive thing for him, isn't it? Safety car in this lap. Just looking at it, trying to think who's the wants to watch out for. Maybe Maro Engel if the car isn't too damaged. He's got the freshest tyres out of that lead group, hasn't he? He's the last to come out because they're all nicely bunched up in front of him now. So could be worth keeping an eye on Engel, although he's had a bit of a battering with that Mercedes, hasn't he, as we know.
Well, he's proven he can get his elbows out. We had a warning just now that Marco Wittmann had made a pit stop infringement, and the confirmation is on our screen. He's going to have to visit the penalty box. That is going to hurt because the field is bunched up.
Yep.
And where is he at the moment? He's in 15th. That's going to drop him to the back, surely.
Finally looked like he was going to get a championship point this weekend, but you're right, it's the worst time to happen, isn't it? Because they're all keyed up behind him now, and he's going to lose a load of places probably. So he gets the board there, penalty lap mark over him, and he'll look to them and just think, what? Something else has gone wrong. What a weekend for him as well. We get back underway. Tommy Preining, Christian Engelhardt, Tim Heinemann, Dennis Olsen. 4 Porsches at the front of the field, looking to make history here. But 4 Porsches as a top 4 in DTM and 3 Porsches on the podium. That's never happened before. With then Clement Schmidt in the mix as well in the Lamborghini. So too Mirko Bortolotti, and Riccardo Fallo has been really impressive this weekend, hasn't he, in the Blue Abt Sportsline Audi. He's there, once again, easily the leading Audi, up there in 7th place.
Marco Wittmann will need to serve that penalty within 2 laps. He's probably going to leave it to the 2nd lap before he does actually serve it, to try and open up a bit of a gap, but it is going to hurt. But he has 2 laps in which he has to do it. Also under investigation, Thomas Preining, our race leader, for a potential pit stop infringement. This is high drama indeed. I should think Christian Engelhardt is rubbing his hands together. So you can see him weaving along the straight, trying to get some heat into...
Didn't quite catch that. That was Dennis Olsen, but it sounded like kind of issue with the car type gripe, didn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't quite catch what he said, but anyway, it's going okay at the moment. Yeah, Thomas Preining under investigation for the pit stop. It was the pit stop that did for him yesterday, but problem the front right rather than a penalty type situation. But it doesn't mean he's going to get a penalty. They're just looking into it, but it will be a worry. They probably won't mention this to Thomas, just let him get on with the driving. I think the team will just let him carry on, because boy oh boy, he's quick, isn't he? And look, he's already 1.2 seconds clear.
Wow. Well, if he can open that up to 5 seconds, he could cope with a penalty lap. They don't normally look into these things unless they've got something significant that's come to light, so it does seem a little bit ominous. The Manthey EMA racing team, both cars with various items of strife. They're running first and fourth at the moment, but fingers crossed for them. Here comes Marco Wittmann into the penalty box. Look how many cars are sweeping past. I make that all of them.
Yeah, right to the back of the field and thinking, God, this weekend's been great, hasn't it? It's always going to be tough, isn't it, when you get to a new team, and Project One, of course, new to this championship. But yeah, there are high hopes for sure with Marco Wittmann. He's had a couple of rough years as well with bad luck and not always competitive cars. But as we saw at Hockenheim, when the car is good, Marco Wittmann is a genius in the car with that win and third place finish. And I'm sure it will come good. It's Project One are a mega team as well with great success, aren't they? So had a Porsche 1-2 before last year, so we had those 3 wins for Porsches. Thomas Preining got victory, his first victory at the Norris Ring last year. Dennis Olsen was second in that race, but there were no Porsches behind. And then we had at Spa a victory for Dennis Olsen as well in his first season of DTM.
Some great on-board shots.
Back to attack, full push. Full push, we are under investigation, I will explain later.
So,
full push.
They've told him, yeah, and exactly what you said, Brian, exactly what you said. If he can build a gap up now, if he does get a penalty, he might just still be able to get away with it. So we'll explain later, but just need you to go as quickly as you can, please, Thomas, they say on the radio.
It really helps him that Christian Engelhardt clearly is not the quickest of the Porsches on the track and potentially is holding up Tim Heinemann with overtaking quite difficult here at Oschersleben. That allows Tommy Preining to really stretch his legs at the front. Great view there we got up in the top left-hand corner looking forwards. We're also looking back at Lauren Heinrich, who is in 11th place. That's the perspective from Lucas Auer with that lovely livery celebrating 75 years of Porsche sport. Also car number 75. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? Lauren Heinrich, the reigning and outgoing Porsche Carrera Cup Germany champion, a man who will make his mark in DTM.
Yeah, Heinrich trying to get out the order from a pretty lowly grid position. Has done well so far. He's back on the 11th row of the grid, so he started in 21st place and he's up there in 11th now. 10 places gained and into the points. There he is coming through and trying to get onto the back now of Lucas Auer as they both run a little bit wide coming out of turn 14. 11 minutes plus 1 lap then to go in the race. Here is the battle between Auer and Heinrich. And just behind them, Sheldon van der Linde trying to nick a few more places and points as well. Understeery for Lucas Auer. The thing won't turn in, and through comes the Porsche. So the Mercedes there running out of grip. And out of turn 2, he loses that place. So another one gained, 11 places gained in the race for Lauren Heinrich and into the top 10.
He doesn't need any more invitation, does he? Tommy Preining, in just the couple of laps we've been going, has opened up the gap to 2.382 seconds. So if he can do that again and a little bit more, and you can see how big the gap is, he has the penalty lap. The penalty lap has been... what is it that's gone wrong here? Is a penalty lap that's been awarded. Is it... we're just looking to see this heavily governed pit stop. So what is it that was wrong there?
First thing I was looking at was they have to take control of loose tyres, lay them flat or hold on to them. That all looked good, so that was what I was looking at the first time. Got the right number of people working on it.
Yeah, then to the front.
Rear's front, and the fronts.
Not an unsafe relief.
No.
Oh, well, I don't know.
No.
But our race leader is going to have to visit the penalty lap. That will add about 5 seconds onto his time. He's only 2.921 ahead of Christian Engelhardt. This is disastrous for the Manthey EMA racing team.
So Engelhardt's going to be on the radio saying, see, I told you I shouldn't let them pass because I'm about to pick up the lead of the race here. And Scott Servett within 2. He ain't going to do it first time, is he? Because he needs to get as far away from them as he can. But even if he builds up a 3-second advantage, he's probably going to slip back behind Dennis Olsen, who's possibly going to be 4th or 5th when he takes that penalty lap into consideration. So not only losing the win, but potentially losing a podium. But then we're going to have a feisty Thomas Preining, aren't we? Trying to come back through to get the win. So when he comes into the penalty box on the next lap, after that, he's going to have something like 7.5 minutes to go on the attack, plus 1 lap. He's still got time to do it, but you've got to find a way through here. And Christian Engelhardt's had a pretty wide Porsche so far, hasn't he?
He has. I'd really like to know what it is that Pryning's team did wrong on that pit stop. It looked textbook to me, but he's going to go hell for leather. He has been the fastest man on the track, so he's got the car for the job, but he is going to drop down the order. I think this lap is when he's going to have to come in.
It's team radio from Christian Engelhardt, probably with the good news that he's about to pick up potentially the race lead. No audio on that one. No audio on that one.
Not a lot being said.
I bet that's what it was. Christian Thomas is about to slow down. You are about to pick up the lead of the race. The only thing I think with that pit stop is too many people working on it. So he's about to come into the pit box area. Thomas Pryning. This will feel painfully slow. He's about to lose 2 places, probably 3 or 4. Oh. Gets back on the gas. Engelhardt comes through. Heinemann comes through. He tucks back into 3rd place. So he manages somehow to get out ahead of Dennis Olsen. He must have had a mega lap, must have the lap before you did. A 1:23.0. You really got the pedal to the metal. That gave him an extra second advantage over Dennis Olsen. That was critical. That brilliant lap then, keeping him on the podium. If he hadn't done it, he'd have been behind Olsen.
Oh, that is going to sting, isn't it? But Christian Engelhardt, the 2020 GT Masters champion, he's done a few laps around here ahead of the rookie Tim Heinemann, the up-and-coming charger. You got the old guard. They're looking over their shoulders because the young chargers are coming through, none more so than Tim Heinemann, who will potentially be thinking, I might be able to win this one.
So potentially, we've got, if Engelhardt wins, 2, let's call them in the loosest sense of the word, rookies that are going to win the first 2 races of the season. Rookies, because Frank Pereira and Christian Engelhardt aren't exactly up-and-coming teenager racers, are they? But in terms of full seasons of DTM, they are rookies. They're both drivers that had a 1 weekend experience before. Mante still looking, pretty relaxed. He's seen it all before, hasn't he? The team, perplexed. But it's not over yet.
No.
It is not over yet. Although, I am quite looking forward to a Heinemann versus Pryning battle for second place in a moment or two.
It has been all about the Porsches, hasn't it? They really are dialed in this weekend. I've loved these slow-mos we've been getting them going across the chicane as well. You see all the bodywork flexing as they take to the air. It really is quite a curve there as they launch the cars into the air. They build them strong at Porsche, they do. That's a car going slow. It looks like Luca Engstler, who's in trouble to me.
Yeah.
Or is he going slow? Yes, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, only with an issue, I'm afraid. So from a TCR champion, was out of the points anyway, slips back behind Marco Wittmann, so 1 back for Marco, but he's back in 19th place currently. Sheldon van der Linde in the only other remaining BMW, still in 12th place in the points, but still behind Lucas Auer. Half under, 48 under investigation for a pit stop infringement now. It's just Maro Engel, who came in pretty late in the window and hasn't been able to slice through as I thought he might. So I wonder if he's got a bit of a knock on the car as well. And he's got to get a penalty lap as well, isn't he? So that will mean about 5 seconds lost for Maro Engel when he makes that penalty stop visit. Number 48 Mercedes at the moment is in 9th place, and 5 seconds would, I reckon, put him down behind Heinrich, Auer, Sheldon van der Linde, Pereira, Schumacher, possibly Miney as well. He's going to drop to the very tail end of the points here because they're all queued up behind him, and that will promote up to 9th Heinrich, up to 10th Auer, up to 11th van der Linde, and yesterday's winner Pereira will move up a place as well.
I'm ever thankful for the penalty lap because what penalties could they have awarded apart from that prior to the penalty lap? It would have been a drive-through penalty. That would be devastating for the likes of Thomas Pryning. So the penalty lap doing what it's meant to do, awarding a penalty without utterly destroying an afternoon.
The pit stops have been the big talking point this weekend. Yesterday we had a lot of botched pit stops. Today it's been pit stop infringements that have really affected the results of the race, hasn't it? So it's all about the drivers on the track, but it is a big team effort, this, and you've got to remember the pressure that the teams are under to get everything spot on as well. So Christian Engelhardt, the leader here of round 2 of the DTM, and in his second weekend as a DTM driver, vastly experienced GT racer, of course, and then Tim Heinemann, and then Tommy Pryning, who was just flying, wasn't he, all the way through the race in the lead, but he can't find a way through, and now he's starting to struggle even to get close to Tim Heinemann, who's on course for back-to-back second-place finishes.
Yes, and he was clearly taking quite a lot out of the tyres at the start of the race. Maybe too much, maybe just the equality of the Porsches all running to the same BOP just makes it that much harder to get past the car in front. All 3 cars pretty identical, Engelhardt, Heinemann and Pryning, and of course Olsen behind as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 Porsche. When was the last time you saw that?
It's never happened. Never happened. We had a 1-2 last year, never a 1-2-3 in the DTM. definitely not a 1, 2, 3, 4. Couldn't have gone better, really, could it? Now, Tim Heinemann in second place at the moment. Guess who's going to be the championship leader at the end of weekend 1? Tim Heinemann, 2 second-place finishes. He's on course to bag another 20 points to add to the 22 he's already got. So he'll move on to 42 points. He will be the round 2 championship leader, Tim Heinemann, and the only driver to finish on the podium in both races. Not a bad start to his DTM career, that.
I'd say that's a great start to it. As you see Clemens Schmid in the background just kicking up a little bit of dirt, going wide. That'll slow him down just a little bit. But Tim Heinemann, what a revelation. We always knew when he came into DTM he was going to be good. But he's probably even surprised himself with the level of performance that he has shown here this weekend at Oschersleben. Of course, on the big banked circuit of Zandvoort, it might be a whole different story. But here at Oschersleben, he is completely dialed in. We're looking at the pit straight, and we did briefly see up in the top left corner the view of Thomas Preining. Trying to work his way back from third place, but looking at the back of Tim Heinemann, the time is running out.
Oh, I think Riccardo Fellow is bored stiff of looking at the back of Mirko Bortolotti's Lamborghini. He's been behind him for ages now, and right behind him, he just can't find a way through. You'll see them coming into shot, there they are, but you've still got to keep the pressure on. But definitely one of the stars of the weekend has been Youssef Aweka, who's sort of quietly, stealth-like gone about his business, hasn't he? Points yesterday, 8th place at the moment. Still a superb job, hasn't he? And got GT experience, GT4 experience as well coming into this. But he's certainly not the most experienced driver out there, and he's done a really good job, I think.
He's one of 3 brothers with Salman and Hamza as well, who have come through ADAC GT4. All 3 of them are pretty useful. We saw them in GT4 a couple of years ago, and Youssef Aweka in GT Masters last year. And he just gets better every year. And arriving in DTM was no real surprise because he is one of the real up-and-coming talents.
So Maro Engel took his penalty lap and he dropped to 14th place, just inside the points. Arjun Mainy's on for his first point of the year in 15th. He had bad luck yesterday with the retirement. Then it's the 2 Ferraris, 16th and 17th, that were both in the points yesterday. Of course, Aitken was on the podium, Vermeulen got into the points, but they're only just behind Arjun Mainy, so there's a real ding-dong going on between Arjun's Mercedes and the 2 Ferraris of Vermeulen and Aitken for the final championship point. Back on board with Thomas Preining, but I don't think he's got an answer to Tim Heinemann, has he?
No, I don't think he has. It looks like he's hauled it up there. Yesterday's first and third, well down the order. Frank Pereira in 12th place, and as already mentioned, Jack Aitken out of the points. He will not be chuffed about that. And it doesn't look like he's going to make much progress from there. His teammate, Thierry Vermeulen, ahead of him, also out of the points.
Sheldon van der Linde, a better day today, but it's not exactly the dream start to the defence of his title, is it, with the DNF yesterday and an 11th place finish today. But given where he started, given how competitive the field is, it's kind of being okay today. Lucas Howard just ahead of him in 10th place is going to pick up some solid points. He was just outside of the points yesterday at Lugi in 16th place, so he's going to get his first points of the season. The top 2 of the championship last year with disappointing starts to 2023, to say the least.
Looking back at the aforementioned number 94 car of Frank Pereira from Sheldon van der Linde, not the progress he wanted to make either, down in 11th place. So he's going to pick up points, but after yesterday's DNF, he's a long way back. Really had higher hopes than this for the Oschersleben event. And then just behind them, David Schumacher. He's had a fairly quiet day, but in the points at the moment, so 13th place, I think he'd probably settle for that at the moment. Good progress from him.
Well, definitely, because they're going to be his first DTM points, aren't they?
Oh, yes, of course.
Knocked on the door quite a few times in the top 10 last year, ran in the top 10 quite a few times in the second half of last season. He adapted well to the GT3 cars, which he was not used to. Right, Christian Engelhardt going through, and we've got clock running out, so this is the penultimate lap of the race. He's got a 1.1 second advantage. Tim Heinemann in second is 1 second clear of Thomas Preining in third, and there's a 1.4 second back gap to Dennis Olsen in 4th place.
So final lap on the screen, that's kind of crept up on us rather quickly, hasn't it? Our timing screens are saying it as well. So in the absolute closing stages of the race, where did that hour go?
Yeah, it's flown by, hasn't it? Yeah, so yeah, you're right, last lap of the race as they've started this one now. The clock having run out, 60 minutes plus 1 lap. They thunder through the chicane for the final time then, with Christian Engelhardt going through sector 1 a bit slower than Tim Heinemann, but Tim's a bit too far back to attack, I think, here. Even he isn't that good on the brakes, so they come through, and Christian Engelhardt is about to pick up again, he's had some big wins. This is going to rate, though, right up there, isn't it, as his first ever DTM win at the start of his first full campaign. It is going to be victory. There is the checkered flag. Christian Engelhardt is another new winner in the DTM. Tim Heinemann finishes second and picks up the championship lead. Thomas Preining did everything right, but has to settle for third.
Maximum fuel save, maximum tire pickup, maximum.
Just maximum everything, please. Maximum cheering in the car by the sounds of it, Christian Engelhardt.
But look at that, 4 Porsches in the top 4.
And a first ever victory in the DTM for the team, TopSport WRT. Well done to them.
Brilliant stuff, yes. So TopSport WRT 1, 2, and Manthey EMA 3 and 4.
That look on that face tells you everything you need to know about how gutted they are. Because Preining was, in terms of how he drove, perfect. Perfect. He couldn't have done anything more differently. But like yesterday, it's in the pits that's costing points. But they know they've got a quick car. They know they've got a quick driver. And Preining will be up there this season. But he's going to have to settle for third place. He won't be happy with it because really did deserve more. But at the end of the day, it's a team sport. Everybody has to stick to the rules. The team has to play their part. You have to make no mistakes. That's what WRT did. That's what Christian Engelhardt did. What was he said on the radio? They told him, you know, car's in trouble here. He said, well, if it blows up, it blows up. I bet he's glad he stuck with it now. He's won the race.
Absolutely. That was ever the doom-laden message. And he's like, never mind that. I'm going to win this race. That's exactly what he did. Wonderful attitude. I've never heard or seen Christian Engelhardt back off or anything anyway. He's a racing driver, as indeed are all of them. And he was always just going to, it was always going to be win or bust, wasn't it?
A quick note as well for Lauren Heinrich from 21st to 9th in that race. He was one of the stars yesterday, wasn't he? And there he is in the Gustine Bernhard car. And of course, Timo Bernhard, a wonderful driver himself, as multiple Le Mans winners. A great guy to have in charge of that team. And Rudyard Fandy, the team still, Rudiger still running the operations as well. €8,000 raised for that race. We've got a combined 2,008 laps in the race. So BWT donating more money to this scheme, Aqua Pearls for You and the Planet Blue Foundation, where they raise money and try to build wells and in the rural areas of countries like Gambia and Tanzania, push up the quality of the water. So Tim Heinemann, as I said, 42 points, leading the championship. From Pereira, second, same points as Christian Engelhardt. They've had a win each, but Christian's had a better second result. So they're the top 3 in the championship. A few big names with not so many points. René Rast back in 11th, Kelvin van der Linde back in 12th place, Sheldon van der Linde, well, at least he's got points today, but he's only 15th in the championship. But as we've seen, Brian, things change from day 1 to day 2 over a weekend. So from one weekend to the next, probably going to be completely different at a very different circuit when we go to Zandvoort.
Yes, as we've already said, Zandvoort, completely different. The 19-degree banking of 2 of the corners, a completely different place, a different dynamic. And I would be totally unsurprised if it was a completely different top 3 from what we've had either yesterday or today once we get to Zandvoort. I know Jack Aiken likes that place. He won there in the GT Masters last year. He'll be looking to repeat that. Christian Engelhardt, though, what a result from him. He started, where did he start? Right down on the 4th row in 7th place, and comes home to take the win. Brilliant.
And 11 different winners in DTM last year. We've already had 2 different winners this year. I bet we beat it. I bet we beat 11 different winners this year. Just feels like it's going to be even more wide open than it's ever been before. But well done to the team, because they played their part in that victory. And of course, Christian Engelhardt has done a pretty mega job as well. His 4th ever race in the DTM. He's a race winner. And made his debut just one weekend at the end of last season in the SSR Performance Porsche, as it was then the former GT Masters and Blancpain champion, now a DTM race winner. Fair play to Tommy Preining, because the first thing he did after he got out of the car was went, knocked on the window of Christian Engelhardt, gave him the thumbs up and said, well done. But it must hurt, it must sting for Thomas Preining, because he did everything that was required of him to get a 3rd victory in the DTM. And as you can see, normally he'd be happy with the third place, or pretty happy with the third place, but not when you've been on top like that. That should have been a win for him, shouldn't it?
He was the fastest man all day. He had the fastest lap of the race with a 1:22.725. He knew that it was in his palm of his hand. Third place, still good, and choking on his water a bit as well. But the first thing I want to do is find out what it was in that pit stop that was wrong. Clearly, the stewards have seen something. It's heavily regulated. Christian Engelhardt doesn't really care because he has come out on top of this one. And Tim Heinemann, well, you can see he's emotional as well.
What a star. What a star, Tim Heinemann. I mean, great GT4 driver. Pretty good at GT3 as well. Fantastic effort. Tim Heinemann, you're the championship leader. Just got to hang on to it for another 14 races.
Is that all?
Yeah, no problem. Well done, Christian Engelhardt. It's a super week. It was a good day yesterday, didn't he? But nothing like this. Fantastic. And how about that? Porsche, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tommy Preining is consoled there. But he'll be back. He's gutted, as you can well believe. But when, and it is when, he wins his next race, that'll feel even sweeter, won't it?
Yeah, it will. But at the moment, that is going to sting pretty bad. And it'll probably be Zandvoort before he really puts it to the back of his mind. But he will come back at Zandvoort, and he will be fighting once again there.
Yeah, let's hear now from Verena.
And I'm here with Tim Heinemann. Congratulations from P2 to second place. It's your second time, yesterday as well, second place. And now you're also championship leader in the first race weekend. So that's a good start, right?
It's a mega start, and to be honest, I'm speechless. To be a championship leader in DTM, I never dreamed of it. So, of course, I wanted to win, but Christian did a mega job. 1-2 for the team is just an incredible result for a new team in the championship. So I'm just happy.
Happy, and also for Porsche, obviously a very good day.
Yeah, Porsche seemed to be good on this track, but of course there will come other tracks like at Bullring where Porsche maybe is a bit more behind. So it was a good start, but it's a long season.
All right, thank you so much, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, except on the grid, second place, it's the first of the losers, isn't it? He was a bit sort of blasé about his result yesterday, but actually you can tell he was really pleased with it and really pleased with today's result. And it doesn't matter how many races you win at the end of the season, it's whether you win the championship or not. That's what people remember. And you keep getting second place finishes and podium finishes on a regular basis. You're going to be in with a real shout this year, because trying to get 2 good results in a weekend is not easy this year, is it?
Yeah, no, it was such a competitive field. Gosh, that says it all, doesn't it, as we look at Thomas Preining. I know a lot of the Porsche drivers were worrying about getting the front tyres up to temperature, the engine obviously in the rear of the car, the weight further back in the car. But the warm weather has probably played into their hands as well.
Absolutely right. Well, he's got to try and put a smile on his face now to get onto the podium in third place. Not what he expected, probably, or almost certainly, you'd argue, not what he deserved. But third place, first podium of the year for Thomas Preining. Already second podium of the year for Tim Heinemann. And the championship lead, how about that? But another first-time winner. Christian Engelhardt will leap up onto the top step of the podium. Race victory and a fantastic defence as well. He had them queued up behind him at one point, didn't he? 5 or 6 cars. And well done to our winning team as well. Talksport WRT, not just winners, but with a 1-2 finish as well. So a huge, huge congratulations to them as well. Not a bad start to their first full season in the championship. There will be different days, but this one belongs to Christian Engelhardt. The German national anthem plays here in the first round of this largely German-based championship. All but 2 rounds in Germany this year for DTM 2023, but we'll be overseas at Zandvoort very shortly, in a month's time, and then later in the season to Red Bull Ring. And now the trophy presentation, the shape of the circuit, and the trophy handed over to our race winner, Christian Engelhardt, and that will go straight to the top of the mantelpiece when he gets it home. Absolutely fantastic effort for him, and the second place trophy, another one to add to his growing collection for Tim Heinemann. And well done to our third place finisher, despite the fact that he's absolutely gutted. He drove brilliantly, didn't he? And it's no reflection, that third place, on his abilities, because we're feeling almost a tear in the eye there, isn't it? Because that was the one that got away for Thomas Priding. But the team will come back from it. Tommy will come back from it. And well done to Talksport WRT, race winners now in the championship. Senderu, who co-runs the team, co-founded the team, is there to collect a very, very proud trophy. And a very proud moment for the team. So there they are on the top step, Brian, and well, we've been treated to another really good race in DTM, haven't we?
The future of the DTM is looking great. The ADAC taking it over this year. It is in good hands. The rules have been changed, but it's just improved the show. What a fantastic weekend we've had at Oschersleben.
Yeah, loved it. Loved my first visit to this circuit as well. Proper driver's track, this, isn't it? Old school. You have to work for your moves, but they are possible around here. Nothing is easy at Oschersleben. Nothing is going to be easy in DTM 2023. Make the most of these moments, because they're going to be hard to come by on a consistent basis for drivers this year. But Christian Engelhardt will love today, and deserving victor in round 2 of the championship. Heinemann in second, Priding in third, and good results as well for Dennis Olsen, Clement Schmidt and Mirko Bortolotti to round out the top 6. Ricardo Feller's been a star this weekend in the Audi as well for 7th. Yusuf Awega and Lauren Heinrich and Lucas Auer all in the top 10 as well. Thomas Priding there can't get away from the podium quick enough, can he? Yeah. Just to try and get over what's just happened to him. Tim Heinemann in the super slow-mo in second place. I love the pink headlights on that Porsche. It looks fantastic. And then the winner, Christian Engelhardt, 2 new race winners. That means 12 of the drivers on the grid now have been race winners in DTM. They've won 68 races between them. And there's going to be more winners this year. Let's get some more news then from Verena.
And I've got the winner here, Christian Engelhardt. Congratulations, what a phenomenal race for you, coming from P7 to victory. I guess that's a good way to start the DTM season, and I've got to see a big smile on your face now.
Yes, I think 7 was a lucky number today. But the race was just perfect. I mean, I had a good start. I started from there, and obviously it's quite hard to pass here, but guys ahead of me started to pit away, and the car was really good. Had a really, really good pace, thanks to the team. And then we just did a phenomenal pit stop. I think the difference was made in the laps prior to the pit stop, the phenomenal pit stop. And the outlap was okay, so then I just had to defend.
Just to defend, you make it sound so easy. Obviously it wasn't, but you had a perfect race. All in all here, I mean, it was hot. It was a lot of action on the racetrack, but for you, I guess you managed to get away. And looking forward to in the next 4 weeks, though, I guess it might be a different story, or are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, of course. I looked forward to this for so long, this race weekend. And yesterday was already a good start to get into the points first race. To win the second race is a dream come true. And yeah, I'm new this year with Talksport, so I'm really grateful to achieve this success already in the first weekend together. But obviously it's going to be a long, hard championship. I'm just purely happy right now about this weekend, and I'll go home and have some days off.
All right, you did a great job. Thank you very much, Christian, and back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, really level-headed Christian Engelhardt there. A very modest chap, because he did a great job, didn't he? A really good job in the race. Some moments in that race, there wasn't there? The missing wheel for René Rast, which sent him off into the gravel trap, and then lots of different pit stop strategies, more varied strategies in this race than we had in race 1, and how tough it was on the cold tyres. This was Maro Engel coming out of the pits. This was one of the last pit stoppers, actually, and the problems as well for Kelvin van der Linde. Back then to Verena.
And I've managed to get Thomas Priding here. A huge disappointment, obviously, in your face, because you were leading the race. Then because of the penalty, it's 3rd place. Nevertheless, you're on the podium, but I guess the disappointment's just huge.
Yeah, I mean, any other day, P3 would be an okay result or a good result. But today, this is not really what I was looking for, obviously. I mean, from my side, I have to say I was really happy with the way I managed the race. The restarts were always spot on. I don't think I could have done much better. I don't really know why we got the penalty, but I mean, we're a team, you know. Yesterday I made a mistake, nobody was angry at me. Whatever happened, happened. We came back strong today, and I can assure you we will come back strong again.
I was just going to say, Zandvoort is in 4 weeks, so I guess there you're going to full-on attack?
yeah, first maybe I will go to the beach there and then to the track.
I'm glad you didn't lose your humor. All right, Thomas, thank you so much. Back to the... All right, and I just heard, let me just see if I can still grab someone. Right, so, I mean, what a phenomenal race weekend we had here in Oschersleben, the first of the new DTM era, the new DTM 2023. So many new faces, new everything, and it was just really a good start. We're all very excited because it was full of action, it was full of excitement, and we really are looking forward to the next race weekend, which will be in Zandvoort. So you can look forward to it too, and we'll see you then. So here are the highlights. Do enjoy and see you in Zandvoort. Bye-bye.